Hello everyone, and welcome to another video by View Systems. In this video, we're going to talk about Markdown. Now, Markdown is just a simple way to document in 4D. Now, before we get to the demo, I'm just going to go through a few slides here to give you more information. Now, a quick overview. The following project elements accept documentation. So we have methods, forms, tables, and fields. So your documentation files are written in Markdown Syntax, so .md files, and using any editor that supports Markdown. They are stored as independent files within your project folder. Documentation files have the same name as their attached element, so with the .md extension. So for example, the documentation file attached to myMethod.4dm project method will be named myMethod.md. So here we have a simple screenshot explaining how we actually get to this documentation. So here in the project methods, we see get logo. Usually you will see an environment where you will have your code as to what get logo will actually do. But at the bottom, you will also see this documentation where I have highlighted in red. So I'm actually going to go through an example with you now so we can kind of get an idea of how to access this and what you can actually and how you can actually get these text boxes to appear in your documentation. So here I've provided a link to a cheat sheet where it kind of shows some basic Markdown syntax that you can use in your documentation. So when you click on the link, you should see something like this. And there's just more information here. So as we see, Markdown is a way to style text on the web. And there are multiple ways where you can do so. So there we have lists, images, links, emphasis, headers, and so on. So now here in 4D, I have already constructed an example. So I've created a project method called test markdown. Now if I double click on that, so here typically you would probably have some code related to your project method. So here I'll say insert code here. Now here at the bottom we see preview and documentation. So we're going to want to click on documentation. Now here I've already put in some random information, nothing really too specific, just to show the different kinds of things we can do. So here I have a block text, I have a hyperlink, and I have a table with information. Now how to actually edit this, if we go to settings, under documentation, and click on edit documentation. Now this will probably open up any text editor that supports Markdown, as we mentioned before. Here it automatically on my Mac opens up Xcode. And here we see the text editor appear. So all I've really used here is that cheat sheet I showed you before and followed some of the syntax in applying some of the documentation that I wanted. So here the hashtags essentially represent the headers. I have my hyperlink. Here I have a block of text and my table. And there are so many more things you could do. This is just a very simple example and to essentially get you started if you weren't sure how to do this. And that is essentially how you would do Markdown documentation in 4D. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next video.